Now, anyone who watched my video after the open training session yesterday will know that I said a 1-goal defeat in Paris wouldn't be a bad result for Liverpool to bring back to Anfield. But to be honest, if you asked me at half-time of this game what a good result for Liverpool would be, and I said that a 3-0 defeat would be about right for Liverpool on the basis of the performance and the dominance that PSG had shown in that opening 45 minutes. I mean, let's have it right. I've not seen Liverpool dominated like that for an awful long time, particularly not this season at all under Arne Slot. But what they did have was a little bit of luck on the side. The world's best goalkeeper in goal. Incredible resilience as well, but also then that quality to snatch the game at the end, and they come away with a 1-0 win and a 1-0 aggregate lead that you have to say was probably barely deserved, but in the end probably one of the great nights in Liverpool's incredible European history. And I go as far as to say that because when you look at the statistics from the night, this is very much of the smash and grab kind of result that Liverpool have got tonight. I mean, look at these stats and numbers here. 27 shots for PSG, just 2 for Liverpool. 10 shots on target to 1. 1.82 expected goals to 0.27. It was just utter domination really from the first whistle, and we are so used to, particularly this season with how good they've been, we're used to Liverpool putting up those sorts of numbers. They would do that to kind of mid-table teams in the Premier League and come away with a deserved 2-0 win. In fact, those kind of numbers aren't too dissimilar from what Liverpool put up against Newcastle as recently as in the last game. And so we're used to seeing them do that to other teams, and instead it was PSG doing it to them. So unusual to see that. But I think the bottom line always is, if you're a good side, is that you're not going to play well absolutely every week or in absolutely every game, particularly in these away European ties and against big hitters like PSG. I mean, Liverpool got an absolutely terrible draw there, didn't we? And I think tonight the performance from PSG really underlined how difficult a draw that Liverpool had been handed despite finishing first in the Champions League group stages. But when you're in these games and you're in these white hot atmospheres, you're up against a team who are just running all over you and you're not playing particularly well, then your job is, in those moments, is to hang in and see how long you can keep the score goalless for. And if you do that and you keep doing it, then you give yourselves a chance to set up a big moment late in the game, because we've seen that so many times. This isn't the first side that's ever committed a smash and grab, is it? This is something that happens in football. But to give yourself that opportunity, you've got to defend well. As I say, a little bit of luck involved as well, but you've got to hang in there and show that real resilience and character. And Liverpool did that, and they earned that big moment right at the death through Harvey Elliott. And as I say, I think a massive result for Liverpool to take a lead back to Anfield, where they will, I imagine, be much better. And it's even better when you consider the performance and the performance level of PSG, who you just have to acknowledge as well. It's not necessarily that Liverpool were poor. I just think PSG were very, very impressive and playing in front of their home crowd as well, who can influence matches in the same way we speak about the Anfield crowd doing so. So for Liverpool to do that, to hang in, to fight back against all that, and then snatch it at the end is an absolutely fantastic result, if not an absolutely perfect performance, to be honest. Now, I spoke about in the first half in particular, this is something I kind of want to focus on in this analysis of the game, that luck was a part for Liverpool. But I think the main part of it, when you say about luck, they're not necessarily lucky that they have the best goalkeeper in the world between the sticks in Allison. That was a great buy many years ago, and he's still proving to be a great buy, isn't he? I mean, it's crazy to think actually early in this season there were a few question marks on whether he is slightly moving past his best, whether we maybe have seen his best performances in a Liverpool shirt. And I mean, he spoke after the match on the pitch there and said that this is his best performance of the season, and then corrected himself and said maybe his best performance of his life. And I wouldn't go far in disagreeing with that, because I think he was absolutely spot on. I mean, 9 saves and 2.26 expected goals on target prevented. That is absolutely remarkable. I mean, that goals on target tally is actually higher than the shots, because PSG were actually adding value in the finishing. The finishing was better than the shot positions they were getting, and yet they just couldn't beat the wall that was in Liverpool's goal is absolutely remarkable. And if I have to pick out kind of a couple of saves as my favourites, I think the one from Kvaratskhelia, I still can't pronounce that, thank goodness he didn't sign for Liverpool. A deflected one in the first half, it comes up, it gets a nick off Konate that makes it 10 times more difficult, and he somehow gets down and tips it round the post. And then one from Desiree Doué in the second half as well, where he's at absolutely full strength to tip it round. In fact, I'm actually forgetting there about the free kick from Kvaratskhelia as well in the second half. It's just a list of absolutely incredible saves. And the fact is, and Arne Slot said this post-match as well, that this is the best goalkeeper in the world. And the truth is, he doesn't actually get that many opportunities to show it at Liverpool, because they don't tend to give up 27 shots in a match or 10 shots on target. That doesn't happen very often, but when they do, when they are in a position like this and on the biggest stage of all in the Champions League, in the knockout stages, he shows how good he is. And it's just a truly remarkable performance. I think he got man of the match in the end, and that was absolutely the right decision, really. An incredible performance, and he is as big a hand as anybody in Liverpool, taking that aggregate lead away. Now, I did speak about the first half and Alisson's influence on that particularly, because I actually thought there were already signs in the second half that Liverpool were getting better defensively. I think Alisson had slightly less work to do in the second half, on the basis that, you know, Liverpool were doing much better in terms of limiting PSG. As I say, the two big saves that Alisson makes in the second half, they are long distance strikes, and I think that showed you actually the way that the game was going. Yes, PSG were still dominant. I mean, they had 70% possession across the game, and nothing really changed in that. But I think Liverpool were doing much better as a team in terms of limiting PSG's threat in that second half. And I'll show you, actually, I don't always bring these up in the post-match analysis, but I want to show you a shot map here, which is just the second half of this game. And you can see, I think it's really clear from this. Obviously, the first half differs to this in that PSG were getting into really dangerous positions. But you look at this second half shot map and you can see that PSG were barely getting into the box. They were getting some decent shots away. Yes, and Allison did have to be, you know, in great form to stop them still in the second half, but it was shots where it would have been an unbelievable finish if it had gone in from that position. And you can see, as I say, nothing really central in the box on that shot map. A lot of it from the edges of the area, and that shows that, you know, Liverpool were really doing a good job, as I say, of limiting PSG. And you can see that in the numbers from the second half as well. Yes, PSG do take 15 shots in that second half, but they must have just 0.41 expected goals from it. So that, to me, shows very, very low quality opportunities that Liverpool are giving up. And when they've defended well this season, that is generally how it's gone, is even if sides have got shots against them, they've made sure they get back in the box, they crowd it, they make sure that these aren't good quality opportunities, and they can either block it, or if you curl it around them, the keeper is there ready to get it, and it has to be an absolutely world-class finish to score a goal. So I think, again, that shows the tweaks that Slot made, and he did speak in his post-match interview about kind of making some tweaks in terms of how Liverpool defended in that second half, and I think there's no better evidence of that working than that second half shot map. So brilliant again from the manager, and if I want to give him credit for that, I want to give him credit for something else as well. Another huge strength of Arne Slot that we've seen, which is a big talking point for me from this match, which is his ability to use his substitutes bench. And I thought every single sub he made tonight made Liverpool a better team, and absolutely worked. I mean, I'm just going to go through them individually here. Curtis, when he comes on, 12 out of 13 passes completed, 3 out of 6 ground duels. He comes on, he wins his battles, and he keeps the ball. He gives you that every single time he's on the pitch, and I thought it was right. You know, Liverpool were just struggling to retain possession at times, weren't they? I thought Curtis, you know, although he didn't completely shift it so that Liverpool suddenly had 50% of the possession, he made them better at keeping the ball when they did win it. And as PSG began to try and move them around a little bit, because they'd put an awful lot into it physically, and I thought a sub like Curtis really helped emphasise that, really, and make Liverpool stronger in terms of retaining possession, and also just getting his foot in there and winning a couple of battles in midfield, because that hadn't happened enough prior to his introduction. And speaking of winning battles in midfield, I thought Endo was another fantastic sub as well. I mean, again, he does the simple things well. 5 out of 5 passes completed, which doesn't sound hugely impressive, but he's not on the pitch very long, and Liverpool don't have a lot of the ball, so he just, every time he gets it, he keeps it. He makes 2 clearances as well, and there's a couple of blocks he gets in to make challenges. One in particular towards the end that gives away a corner that, has Canate celebrating with him, because it is a huge moment. If that ball gets past him and a low pass into the box, it could go anywhere. Even if you get a clearance on it, it could bounce fortuitously, but he gets there and makes the block, and he's been doing that all season, hasn't he? Particularly in this latter part of the season. But again, very, very smart sub from Arne Slot that really worked out. And it wasn't just in terms of the defensive subs as well that worked out. I thought his attacking subs were very smart as well. I thought Darwin, when he came on, very, very impressive. I think that was one thing that Liverpool really lacked and struggled with in the first half. I think part of the plan, and they were going long quite often, was to try and expose the fact that PSG will defend at the back in a man-to-man system. So they'll just go one-on-one, and they're absolutely kind of happy to do that because they've got pace and some strength at the back as well. And the problem was to Liverpool is that, 9 times out of 10 you can kind of expose that by going long, because you only need one lucky bounce to get there. But the problem was that, Diaz isn't Gakpo, is he, height-wise? He doesn't have that ability to win headers and then, sprint on. He's not quite as quick as Gakpo. And Jota, I just felt like he was getting eaten up physically, really, not able to win those physical duels. And so Liverpool were just immediately surrendering the ball when they did go long, even though I thought that was a good plan in general to try and expose PSG. But that kind of changed when you got Darwin on, and he didn't win absolutely everything. He's not perfect in that regard, but he's so much more physical than Jota. And what he was doing, he was causing chaos. He was making it harder to get the ball away. I mean, you think of some of the goals that Liverpool have conceded to Aston Villa, maybe, and Everton recently, where their strength and physicality, although Liverpool have got the better players, you can't really legislate for that. The ball just kind of bounces everywhere, and then all of a sudden the opposition have got it under control, or they're putting it in the back of your net. And Darwin just caused that chaos. It was a really brilliant part of his performance. And then I loved the assist for Harvey Elliott as well, which way he shows that composure, he brings the ball down. He's caused that, used his physicality to get the ball and keep hold of it, and then he has the presence of mind to turn to see where the pass is, and he puts it on a plate. Really, I mean, that's probably putting it a little bit too far, but it's the perfect weight to run on and hit it first time, which is exactly what you want from a centre forward, and particularly in that game state, in that game scenario where Liverpool had struggled with physicality. Darwin, again, a great sub there and did his job brilliantly, but also brilliant from the manager. And in terms of brilliant from the manager, it doesn't really get better, does it, than you making a sub and them scoring with the first touch of the game, and that being the winner in a knockout stage game in the Champions League. I mean, it was his first touch, Harvey Elliott, and he runs onto the ball and puts it away brilliantly. And we have to acknowledge it's been such a frustrating season for him. Brilliant in pre-season, then he gets injured, then he struggled to get back in, struggled for minutes because the team's been really settled. But one thing you're going to get from him is incredible work rate, great personality, keeps his head down and works away, and he's not causing trouble within the squad even though he's struggling for minutes. And again, his sheer commitment and the work rate to be up there, because you kind of, if you watch the goal back, he's a million miles behind the play at the point that Darwin Núñez gets it under control, but he's switched on and he's willing to put in that sprint there. And Nuno Mendes switches off for a second, and all of a sudden, and Nuno Mendes is much quicker than Harvey Elliott, by the way, but Elliott he thinks quicker, and therefore he puts the sprint in, gets him there, and then great composure to just open up his body and just sneak it in at that far post. And we know how good a player Harvey Elliott is. I'm such a big fan of him, and a little concerned about what's going to happen with his future, with 2 years of his contract remaining coming into this summer, and he's not played very much. But I'd love to see it kind of work out for him at Liverpool, because I think there's a fantastic player there who deserves to see a little bit more of the pitch, and I think he showed why in putting that one away today. And it was a great sub, and a brave sub as well, by the way, to take Mo Salah off, but the right one, because it just clearly wasn't Salah's night for whatever reason. Nuno Mendes, I thought, did a great job on him. He just didn't seem to be at his top level, which never ever happens. So it was a brave sub to take him off, but also the right sub in Harvey Elliott, because we see that finish there, which is absolutely crucial to Liverpool winning the game, and a fantastic moment for Harvey, who, as I say, has had a difficult season. Now, I want to kind of wrap it up by just focusing on the fact that if anybody out there is kind of worried that, okay, Liverpool have got away with one tonight, and if they repeat that that performance at Anfield, then they're definitely going to go out regardless. But I would say, I think what we saw tonight is that I don't expect that this will be the same game at Anfield at all. I think we saw tonight that PSG home advantage was absolutely massive for them, and albeit they can still be dangerous at Anfield, they've got so much pace and quality, and they will be able to hurt you on the break in the same way Liverpool did to them today. I think that the crowd and the fact that it is at Anfield and being in that familiar setting for the Liverpool players, I think it will make Liverpool much, much better. And I don't think we will see that version of PSG turn up to Anfield and dominate in that way. I would be hugely surprised if we do see that. And that is the reason, really, because we're probably going to see slightly different versions of these teams next week. That to get a win in these circumstances in the first leg away from home is so massive for Liverpool. They have put themselves in prime position to get to the quarterfinals by winning that one. And as I say, one of 3 great European results and European nights in Liverpool's history, and that takes some saying, really, when you consider how storied Liverpool are in this competition. But I genuinely believe this was one of the big ones, and now they've got to go back to Anfield and build on that. But of course, it's Southampton coming up first, so that is the life of a footballer, and it'll be the life of a football reporter as well, because of course I will be there on Saturday for the Southampton game. Very much looking forward to that. But before then, do let me know what you thought of the performance tonight. Let me know probably more what you thought of the result, which was pretty good and pretty much better than the performance. And if you can drop me a like and a subscribe, that's always massively appreciated as well. So I'll wrap it up there and say I'll see you guys very soon.